And also, the state was an extra thorny issue, but as the budget, the Republican majority legislature grappled for consensus with Democratic governors and individual lawmakers. To gain support, the lawmakers have put this through, and they're giving people the money they need. But members of the Freedom Caucus also pulled what amounts to $260 million to create a rebate, which they said would provide relief to Arizonans struggling amid high inflation. Plus, an unforeseen burst of hiring last month has lifted hope that the economy will prove durable once again, even as an array of obstacles lie ahead. Businesses across the U.S. have ramped up their hiring in September, defying surging interest rates and financial market turmoil. The ongoing threat of a government shutdown and uncertain outlook is actually make things look pretty good since before. The hiring binge has co-founded and expectations for a slowdown and added one more layer of complexity to the Federal Reserve's high-wire effort to defeat inflation without causing recession. The 336,000 jobs that were added in the year exceeded the 227,000 for August and raised the average gain for the past 3 months to a robust 266,000. Friday's government report raised hopes for a notoriously difficult soft landing by which the Federal Reserve would manage to curb high inflation with a series of rate hikes without derailing the economy. But the healthy pace of hiring also highlights the co-founding nature of the U.S. economy as it navigates the uncharted post-pandemic era. A strong labor market actually keeps high for inflation. Speaking after the September hiring data, Joe Biden asserted that robust job growth was a result of his policies and says that we should vote for him next year. New relief bills have been signed, and the lawmakers in certain states are finally stepping up to provide millions of residents with direct relief money. But first of all, the extension of the federal crisis tax credit during the 2021 year has actually come to an end. Despite expectations of this outcome, the sheer scale of the change remains shocking. In response, several states have taken action. And since the expiration of the federal enhancement, 6 states like New Jersey and New Mexico have introduced new child tax credits just to help people keep up with this. Plus, 5 states have expanded their existing credits. Currently, 14 states offer child tax credits, with several others considering similar measures. But in 2021, the American Rescue Plan did temporarily increase the federal child tax credit, providing up to $3,000 per child ages 6 to 17, and $3,600 per child under 6. The expansion, which offered the credit as monthly cash payouts of 60% of the household income, has actually been reduced and cut by half. Concerns about the potential negative long-term effects of a permanent expanded tax credit include a potential reduction in workforce participation.
In there, as far as you know.
Well, earlier I thought it was going really well. We're making progress. I think it'll be very close. We'll get a speaker here shortly.
Would you support Austin Scott for speaker?
No, I was going to support Jim.
You're going to support Jim Jordan?
Yes.
Do you think that he has the...
Well, you know what, guys? If your coffee isn't doing the trick this morning, perhaps the sound of stimulus will. We have your attention at home, especially if you live in Maryland, where a recent article on a well-known finance site claims you can expect a 4th stimulus check soon. Well, we'll tell you right away, that's probably not the case. We talked to the Maryland Comptroller's Office and looked into the Maryland Relief Act of 2021, which the article itself cites.
Folks, if you receive monthly benefits, then there are some very important news you have to know. Monthly benefit checks may be announced, dramatically decreasing your monthly stimulus. So as the economy has suffered from the crisis, supply chain problems, and skyrocketing inflation, while the federal government has stepped in multiple times to help Americans through a variety of relief initiatives, including stimulus checks, tax rebates, debt relief, and other programs. According to a recent Go Banking Rate survey, 60% of Americans would still like to see more stimulus money in 2023, and so would so many other people across the nation. Because when the crisis that led to this hardship may be over, financial woes for the people that suffered this will definitely not be over. Because the good news is that there are some programs that provide approved payments of 2022 that will continue to roll into this year. It's also possible that the American economy is going to go into recession. Not really possible, but it definitely will head into recession, and we're already in one. Because on the East Coast, several states have some kind of stimulus that will extend this year. Now, not all of this stimulus comes from bills passed by the Fed. Some are rebates or surplus tax refunds that states are passing along to the residents. Because in the state of Delaware, for instance, resident adults 18 and older who filed their income taxes may have been eligible for a Delaware one-time tax rebate. A one-time tax rebate, folks. And what I mean by this is that in the state of Massachusetts, $3 billion surplus was sent out. It decided to divide that money to its residents in the form of tax rebate and refund. Anybody who filed in 2022 should have received their refund already, but residents who filed their taxes on or before September 15th will begin that money too, and now, no later than September of this year. New Jersey residents can still take advantage of property tax refunds through the Affordable New Jersey Communities for Homeowner and Resistance Program. Pennsylvania has also given $1,500 while renters can receive $450 if you're a homeowner, and the deadline for 2023 filing is January 31st. Applications for this anchor program need to be filed with the state's Division of Taxation. Pennsylvania has an ongoing program since 1971 that benefits seniors, which is still in effect. They send out a refund of property taxes or paid rent monthly for seniors. The maximum standard rebate is $650, but those eligible for supplemental rebates can receive up to $975. That income limit is $35,000 a year for homeowners and $15,000 a year for renters, though half of Social Security income is excluded. To get the funds, an application is required. It must be filed with the state's Department of Revenue by December 31st, and the state of Virginia already sent eligible taxpayers checks worth up to $500 in the form of one-time bonus tax refunds. But while most checks were mailed out in September, for those who filed at the later end of the application window, it's possible that some checks may still be on the way to check out their monthly benefit checks in some way or form. It has already been almost 3 years since the crisis began. It was a long time ago, but many states have already been making adjustments to the monthly benefits. It has been announced that extra crisis SNAP benefits are coming to an end in 2 months for residents who use the program in Massachusetts. About 630,000 homes in the state have been relying on SNAP since March, and has allowed them to receive the maximum benefits, and that means good stimulus money.
I was able to get not all I needed, but $369 billion put in that bill. And we had, I think the guys were with me, the Congress were with me when I invited the CEOs of the auto companies to the White House lawn in the back, behind the White House. And I talked about automobiles, and they talked about electric vehicles. At the time, Amy Barr Chairman Barr of General Motors, was suing the state of California because you had a higher standard for emissions than the rest of the country, and they said they couldn't do that. Well, she left that meeting and she dropped the suit. Called me up and said they're going to go all electric by 2035. Every other company has signed up to do the same thing. So we're working with the auto industry to transition to electric vehicle future, providing tax credits to buy electric vehicles, as well as, any IBW guys here? Well, guess what? You guys are going to install 500,000 charging stations around the country. So it's going to be, that's like 500,000 gas stations. Not a joke. 500,000. Because people are going to say, I'm not buying a vehicle because I can only take me X number of miles. And by the way, we're investing billions of dollars in many.
The generosity comes at a time when many states are reveling in a rush of tax revenue collected during the previous fiscal year and a cushion of federal crisis aid funds. The Hartford Courant claims that the tax credit program was made possible due to Connecticut's large budget surplus and over $2 billion in federal stimulus funding. What do you think about this? Tell me in the comments down below. President Biden and his administration is pushing to advance a new bill. This new plan would help avoid a recession this year. Economists say this bill should be signed into law immediately. Senior Biden